Ladies and gentlemen, on today's episode of The Ango Show, we're going to be talking about a massive story surrounding AEW and Tony Khan's last-minute change between Will Ospreay and Hangman Page. And trust me, you guys are going to want to hear the details on this because I think it's going to reveal that Tony Khan may not actually have a long-term plan here. Also, a WWE departure has been confirmed, and we are going to talk about a petty move that WWE is making. Guys, this one is funny. It's all coming up right here on The Ango Show. All right, guys, and just a reminder, if you want more videos like this, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. First things first, let's talk about it. WWE has released the pre-sale code for Saturday night's main event, Evolution, and of course, NXT Great American Bash. Now, what is really funny about this, maybe you guys didn't see this, but WWE is being incredibly petty. So WWE has already revealed that the pre-sale code is all WWE. Now, you might not be thinking twice about this, but essentially WWE knowingly going into AEW All-In Weekend is now utilizing the all WWE tagline, which is crazy because all in, all WWE. Yeah, listen, if you're one of those people calling WWE petty in the way that they are when it comes to competing with AEW, I totally understand exactly where you're coming from. I understand greatly. I do think it is silly. I think it is kind of dumb. But also at the same time, too, I'm going to keep being adamant about this. People want wrestling competition. You want AEW's growth. You want WWE to get better. You know, you got to have competition, and you got to treat them like competition. And WWE and TKO will continue to do petty things. That is not going to go away. The fact that it's not going to go away means one of two things. Either you are going to truly align with WWE or you're going to truly align with AEW, which I think is a very big possibility. You're going to pick one or the other. Or what you're going to do is just simply watch what you want to watch when you want to watch it. And I think the best thing wrestling fans can do is not necessarily focus on what WWE or AEW are doing as like a business to compete with each other, but more so the product itself. Like, I genuinely believe WWE's product is good right now. I think AEW is catching up in terms of getting better, but there are some areas where I think they need to improve. So for me personally, I'm just going to watch what I want to watch, and that's it. All this other stuff doesn't really impact me. It doesn't really bother me. Do I think it's petty? Sure. But they are a business. They are going to compete, and they are going to do everything to delegitimize AEW. And that's kind of how it's going to work. The all WWE tag is awfully similar to all in, all elite, right? Like, this is WWE playing their games, and they know this is them taking their shots. And listen, some people get offended by it, some people get bothered by it, but I think AEW and WWE should just do what they got to do. At the end of the day, if they're not putting out a good product, that's on them. That brings us to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. WWE departure. Freedom Ramsey is let go from WWE. Now, you might not know who Freedom Ramsey is, but thankfully, Ango here watches a lot of wrestling and can inform you of such. Now, for those who don't know, Freedom Ramsey was somebody who came from the independent wrestling scene and signed with WWE as part of the WWE ID program. Now, at this time, there hasn't been any public departures confirmed until now. So a lot of people were wondering, how would it work when somebody from WWE ID no longer sticks around in the company? Well, Freedom Ramsey had actually reported himself the news. He says, hey, I just want to share something. I am no longer with WWE ID. This did not happen publicly. Some things are just meant to be handled behind closed doors. Now, for those who don't know who Freedom Ramsey is, he is an independent wrestler. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of independent wrestlers. Now, me being from Detroit, I'm a little bit more familiar with him because I've seen him a lot in CCW, which is a local promotion in Michigan. You might even know him as his alter ego as Jalosh from New Albania, which is a faction in CCW. He's been trained by the House of Truth Wrestling School, which is Truth Martini. Maybe you guys remember him from the ROH Sinclair days. Really, this guy has talent. And when you see people getting departed, when you see people departing WWE ID, there is a bright side to it. I understand that a lot of people look at it as like a negative, but being involved in WWE ID does come with some limitations. And for somebody like Freedom Ramsey to leave the program, I still think he has opportunity outside of this, right? And that's the cool thing about a healthy wrestling industry. And normally when we talk about a healthy wrestling industry on this channel, we often talk about WWE, AEW, and TNA. But we got to talk about the indie scene. Since the pandemic, the indie scene, I thought the wrestling scene in the independents would have died, to be honest. Like, I genuinely thought the indie scene was going to die. I did not have a lot of confidence in it ever rebuilding or rebounding from that. But I feel like in the past year or so, indie wrestling is thriving. And thankfully, there's a lot of great companies out there who aren't ripping off indie wrestlers. And yes, there are definitely some that still do, but there's a lot of indie companies out there that exist that are doing good things. And I think when that is happening, it's okay because wrestlers can still make a living from it. Of course, everybody has this dream, let me make it to WWE, but there are other ways to be successful in professional wrestling. So while Freedom Ramsey is without WWE now, and maybe that roadmap to getting to NXT is no longer there, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. And I think that's one of the best parts about the wrestling industry right now. Those who want it will go out and get it. And that brings us to our final topic, ladies and gentlemen. Will Ospreay, Hangman Page. Wow. Fightful Select has just dropped in a crazy report. So let's talk about it. Fightful has reported that Will Ospreay and Hangman Page were both shocked at the result of the main event because they actually found out the result very, very last minute. Now, according to Fightful, Hangman Page pushed for Ospreay to win, while Ospreay also pushed for Hangman Page to win. And Tony Khan was said to be non-committal throughout the entire process when asked by talent. Jon Moxley pushed for Hangman Page to win, though it is unclear if this affected the result. Hangman's win was obviously met with backstage because a lot of people expected Will Ospreay to win. Now, you guys might be thinking, Ango, why is this even a big deal? Well, as you guys know, AEW is on the road to All In. You would think by now Tony Khan and the company have pretty much figured out what is happening for that event and what is the major storyline. You would think with this Death Rider storyline that's been ongoing for several months, they've had a clear, concise plan as to who is going to dethrone Jon Moxley. You would have thought that. Tony Khan apparently didn't even know until very last minute. Now, we don't even know if Hangman Page will dethrone Jon Moxley, but we know that he will be competing against Jon Moxley. Now, one thing I do respect here based on the report, the fact that Ospreay and Hangman both kind of vouched for the other person to win is a really cool thing. I think that's really awesome that there's like that backstage atmosphere where two guys could say, hey, listen, I'm okay with me losing and having him win. I thought that was really beautiful. But I also believe that Hangman Page is the right winner. I think I'm just more shocked at the fact that Hangman Page won and this wasn't the plan the entire time. So the fact that this tournament has been ongoing for a while now and they didn't even have a clear, concise plan is what's shocking. And I think that's a little disappointing. But shout out to these two guys because they had a hell of a match and both of those guys are worthy of the win. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching.